Alright, I'm gonna try to talk serious, thus, I'm gonna try to say my words as articulate and as clearly as possible and without any type of noticeable accent as can be. So, in other words, the American English, which is understood throughout all 50 states, and it's the type of English that either reporters or people who broadcast news, weather, traffic reports on the television use. I may have some accent because of the fact that I am bilingual, trying to become trilingual or speak more languages like my uncle-in-law. But despite that, let's get right to it. Now, the reason that when picking up the sandwich for Mama Vilma yesterday, which was paid for online, the reason why it was super wrong. Forget about the fact that they were asserting that I was a theft. That can be understood because the girl behind the customer service, which I just got Papa Alex upset by telling him the truth. Customer service, all they do is sell drugs, sell people who are addicted to drugs, gambling. They enable drug users, gamblers, and then they do regular cashiering jobs, and then also returns and Western Unions and change checks. All of that stuff that I already knew before I was an adult. Okay. The gambling, not so much because that's run by the biggest gang. Well, the troops are, those would be the lowest one, like the patrol units, the people in uniforms. The detectives would be a little bit higher. Then you got lawyers, you got judges, then you got the politicians. That's how the hierarchy works in this government, which essentially is an organized crime. But they're just very elaborate. They put on a show which is enticing and informative enough to create a field of study known as political science. But if you look deep and you look and you investigate really into all of their, their actions and how they navigate their strategies, you can see that there are definitely abuses of power done by all. It doesn't matter if you're left, right, straight, queer, black, white, middle, to the side, round, square, long hair, bald, you wear caps or you never wear any caps, you like to use socks with your shoes or you don't use socks. None of that, no differences in language, culture, nothing of that matter makes a difference. When a person gains enough power that they have the power to change essentially the policy, which in turn enacts the laws that are executed in the land that we live in, they have a beforehand knowledge if a bill may or may not be passed. Therefore, they can make financial moves based on that. They won't do it personally. They'll do it through someone that they know, which it will be kind of hard for them to get linked to. It could be separate tiers. There's finances, since they've gone global. People start corporations in abroad where it's very hard to get a hold of. That's why Julian Assange was essentially, that's why the government feared him so much, because he was really pointing out their, how the crime works within politics. But the politicians were afraid of that because as soon as they're not able to commit crimes, then they don't really want the power. They want the powers to get, so that they can get more power. That way they can then, it's a vicious cycle. It's like addiction because you can never have enough of it. I hear sometimes that billionaires, they just keep tabs on how much the next person has, and then they just want to have as much as that person, even though they're already at they're the 7 figures or whatever, the 7-0 club. but it's never enough, because it's something in the brain that causes, it's a disease. That's why in the field of medicine, addiction is actually a diagnosis, and it's actually a disease at a physiological level, which means that people's brains could be altered. Perhaps it's through nature or nurture, combination of both. It doesn't matter. The people that are in power, that essentially choose to maybe keep anonymous, or they use their power and to limit the powers. They don't abuse of their powers, and they try to limit other people's powers. A lot of times they'll end up getting killed. Look at John F. Kennedy. Look at Abraham Lincoln. Abraham Lincoln was in talks to give him power to people who were thought of as property at a certain period in time, and he was going to give them power because what did they ask for? They asked for land. They were very smart. They knew that land equals power here in this country. And he was assassinated before that could go through. That would have been the first steps of the retribution of the whatever it's called. I forget the exact word. Apologies. So moving forward, the customer service per individual told the other individual that, oh look, that person there walked out, put something in the bag, and walked straight out. Yes, I did do that. Like I mentioned in the video, item was paid for, and I took a couple extra items from the deli, which you are allowed when you buy stuff from the deli, like napkins and some plastic spoons, which I had it all in my hand. I showed the lady who went like this to me, and I kind of did the same back to her. We were both in the lobby, but the individual that came out to me, their backs were towards me. Okay, so I don't think the other individual that was behind the counter, the customer service counter, saw me when I told the older lady about it. But then what really got me upset was, like I said, it wasn't the fact that he came out and tried to accuse me of theft. It's the fact that he allowed his sense of logic to deteriorate, and allow his sense of emotions, because I could see him coming out. He was having like that feeling. I know what it feels like, because I'm a human too. And number one, it would have been awesome if he would have put his hand on me, because that would have been a lawsuit right there, and that company is worth billions of dollars. So if there's any lawyers, I know Eminem down here in South Florida, if you guys have any other clients that have cases against them, this case would be essentially is important, because the person was elderly. They were crying out. They were trying to get themselves, which they're amongst their peer, because the person that came out to talk to me is essentially their peer, their work associate. They were trying to get their attention, to notify them before that individual embarrassed themselves like they did. But that individual, instead of listening to the older lady, for whatever reason, decided to go by his feelings or his emotions, or maybe because he thought he was going to do something stoic, heroic. I am not quite sure. But the fact that he negated to listen to the cries of an older individual is disturbing, because within a 3 to 4 mile radius from that store are 2 different neighborhoods that are solely dedicated to people of a certain age and above. And those people that live in those stores, in those communities, more than likely shop at that supermarket. So if that person treated his peer, that was his elder, like that, how are we to say that those people that went by their emotions will not in the future not notice when another elderly person cries out for something different? And this time it could be something that could be the difference between life and death for that in person. And now to say that because a person has reached a certain age, they should just, it's, they don't have a right, they have less of a right to be here than a person that's not as old as them. That is wrong, that is immoral, and that is unethical by all means and accounts. I don't care what you believe in. And then also, my parents, I'm of age, I'm a senior citizen. So you can imagine how much older my parents are. Now I have to be concerned about my parents shopping because that's the closest supermarket. I don't like it at all. So please make it aware. I've been applying for that place because, like I said, it's worth billions of dollars. They have great benefits. And for mi nenita, which is my daughter, I'm going to start calling her that for the new year. Mi nena, mi nenita. I want to work there so I can leave something behind, hopefully with enough time. I still could work for another 30 years until I'm like 90 something. And then hopefully leave her with what a good friend of mine who passed away because he was also an addict. And he had a very good position with the company where he left his, I think, 3 daughters and his ex-wife with enough money so they could get by. But yes, that is what I would like. That's why I know no one's going to donate. So I started also adding, please write a letter to this address and kindly ask them to employ me. All of you who watch my videos know my name. So thank you very much for watching. I do appreciate you very much. Thank you for a new subscriber today, and anyone who's thinking of subscribe, do it. You can always unsubscribe later. Hopefully you will not. You keep me around. If I eventually upgrade from an iPhone, maybe I can download different apps to make better videos, and I can get content from my fans or fans like another YouTuber. Let's just call them SS Dumbhead Iguana or SS Dumbhead Donkey. Stupid Dumbhead Donkey. Okay, thank you much. Ciao.